Now, it's the second day of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. This evening, the headline speaker is to be the former President Barack Obama, who remains a popular and influential figure within the party. He's expected to hail Kamala Harris as the future of the Democratic Party. But before the convention looks to the future, last night President Biden gave his farewell speech, honoured with a standing ovation.
She's tough, she's experienced, and she has enormous integrity, enormous integrity. Her story represents the best American story. And like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president.
Well, let's go to Chicago on the programme then. Fraser Jackson is our correspondent covering the convention. And Fraser, take us to the speeches this evening then, in particular Barack Obama's speech. How important is the message that the former president gives tonight?
Well, day two of the DNC is all about Illinois, really. We're going to be hearing from the current governor of Illinois, somebody that Kamala Harris had on her shortlist as VP, ultimately, of course, not making it, but also her friend of 20 years, Barack Obama, who is still extremely influential within the Democratic Party, somebody that also still has a lot of favorability among likely voters for the Democratic Party. So his endorsement really meaning very much to Kamala Harris. Not only have they been campaigning together on various political platforms over the course of the last 20 years. They first met when Barack Obama was running for Senate here in Illinois. That was in 2000, well before he became president in 2008. But also today, Barack Obama is now going to bat for her. Now, we are expecting to hear him talk about how important it is that Kamala Harris gets into office to defend democracy, to defend a woman's right to choose, and also for the economy and also for migration and other key issues that are affecting this election. Like I said, though, that sway that Barack Obama has with a significant chunk of the Democratic Party will play to his base, but also to those more moderate Republicans as well, who the Democratic Party are hoping to get on side, because this is a very close election and it's an election about margins. So the Democrats hoping they can take some of those would-be Republicans, those Republicans who voted for Obama and then voted for Trump, trying to get those to come back home to Kamala Harris this November.
And Fraser, we're also expecting to hear this evening from Doug Emhoff. That's the husband of Kamala Harris, the second gentleman, as he's called in the United States. He's not a hugely well-known figure abroad. Tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, he's not somebody who really gets much of the limelight, but of course he is actually the first second gentleman of the United States, and his role really has been more of a kind of more of an activism kind of role, somebody who can try to drum up support in the battleground states, especially in the grassroots movements of the party. That is where he's really been important. But he's also been, of course, important as a rock to Kamala Harris. They've been married for quite some years now, and she really sees him as being a lifelong partner and somebody that is a confidant and somebody she can rely on. There was a story that Doug Emhoff told a couple of weeks ago about when Joe Biden dropped out of the race, and it then became apparent that Kamala Harris would be the most forefront runner for the nomination. He was actually away at that time and was back in California when he received a call from Kamala saying simply, "You need to come home, I need you." So that shows how tight a bond the two have. Of course, he is also one of the surrogates who is campaigning for his wife in the battleground states and elsewhere in the United States. And he will also make history once again if Kamala Harris does indeed become President of the United States in November by becoming the first ever second gentleman of the United States as he supports his wife in what would then be her role as president. So somebody to look out for and somebody that will be seen a lot more of over the next couple of months.
Fraser Jackson in Chicago. For now, thanks very much indeed. There'll be plenty more from Fraser as the second day of the Democratic Convention gets properly underway later on.